All right, we are back with another Pick'em video. It is Wednesday, February 11th in the NBA. We have a massive slate today, 14 games. A lot of uncertainty in the NBA right now, but I do have some plays that I'm locked in on, and that's what I'm going to share, go through the analysis and everything with you guys today. And then I might talk about some leans and some other action and some things maybe to keep in mind with all the injuries and teams that are tanking and minute projections and things like that. So if you want to stay tuned for the end, we can do that too. But first, recap of yesterday's video picks. Then we'll hop into my favorite picks for today. And then we'll hop over to like a general analysis on the entire slate. Let's do it. And we came crashing back down to earth yesterday. 2.05 units in the red after 4 straight winning days. I think putting like the winning days in a row in the title was a kiss of death for us yesterday. And yesterday's slate was just ugly. But let's talk about it. Our one winner was Colin Gillespie over his 4.5 assists. He had this, I think, in the first half. I think he had at least 8 assists. I didn't see the final number. But that's the second time in a row that my favorite play of the day really smacked. So I don't know why I've been laddering these things, because that was a pretty good price tag for a line that we really liked. That was the only 1 unit play, just because it was such a weird slate. And we got some weird stuff in the NBA right now. Clippers Rockets point total over to 11.5. I don't know where it ended, but I don't even know if anyone broke 100 in yesterday's game. It was a fun game. There was a lot of streaks of like Rockets would score like 10 points in like 1 minute. I'm like, here we go. This is the time we're getting the over. And then they just go ice cold for like everyone in the court for like 2 minutes straight. One of those was Derrick Jones Jr., who had 6 points in the first half. I thought this was going to be easy money. I think he shot like 2 of 8 or 2 of 9 from the field. And he like was passing up open shots. It looked weird out there for me, but it was annoying to watch. And he doesn't get there. Again, ends with 6 points on the night. Andrew Nembhard, this was the one play that I would take back if I went into this game once, or went into the slate once again. 6.5 assists. He'd been crushing this line, and I was like, the matchup is so bad, blah, blah, blah. But he had just been going over so much that it seems like a stupid read at the end of the day. It was plus money, but he had 10 assists. It was an overtime game, and the Pacers end up winning that thing too. Jose Alvarado, I would do this one again, but he just didn't show up. He didn't shoot very well. He didn't shoot a ton. He only played like 19 or 18 minutes, but he ends with 4 points, and I think he made 1 shot, no threes, couple free throws. So yeah, bad day, but we're coming off 4 really good days, and that's what tends to happen. We come back down to earth on one of these days, and that's what's going to happen. We're not going to win every single day, but for the entire year, we are up 21.38 units. I've tracked every single play I've given out on YouTube. And we're going to get back to our winning days, hopefully today, with the massive slate we got going on. So jumping into Props Madness to start talking about our plays like we always do. If you're looking at this tool and you're watching this video and you're like, I got to try that thing out, you can. 25% off your first month using my link in the description down below. It lets them know that I sent you there. And Props Madness is freaking awesome. You're going to see it throughout this video. And we're going to start with a weird one. How about a triple-double for Nikola Jokic? It says minus 110 here. I found it at minus 105 on BetMGM, as you can see it right here on OddsJam. And Jokic triple-double has been great. He's had 3 straight triple-doubles. And now he gets the Memphis Grizzlies, who we've talked about before, are tiny. And Jokic is going to be absolutely massive. So I'm not worried about the rebounds. His rebounds line is at 13.5. His assist line is sitting at 10.5. But he can do some damage against this Grizzlies team that might look lost out there against the 3-time MVP. So I'm not overthinking this one. I'm not going to send too much analysis on it. He's over in 50% of games anyway. I guess we could look at like rebounds allowed teams, favorable rebounds allowed, about 64.3% of games. And I haven't looked at this yet, but I would assume like defensive rankings, let's say the last 10 days. Favorable matchups here, 63.6. So he's much over, over in 60% of games. This is a team I think he could absolutely dominate with his size. Again, just look at this team. Jokic probable, Murray probable. That's all that really matters for Jokic to be able to get a triple-double. And yeah, Kyle Anderson, I think he's going to be guarding Jokic. That's what we're looking at. They don't have a big man. Taylor Hendricks might have to come in there. Jokic should feast on these guys. He'll score, he can rebound, and he can absolutely dime up on these little dudes that won't be able to do much against him. Moving to play number 2, I like Brandon Pajemski to get some assists here. 3.5 is the line, minus 112 is the price. Now he's going against the Spurs, great defensive ranking, but the Spurs did play yesterday. A couple guys might pop up on the injury report. We'll see what happens there. It was also a rout of the Lakers, so maybe everyone just feels healthy. I think Wemby only played like 26 minutes. The starters didn't have to do much out there. Wemby went crazy in the limited time. But yeah, I like Pajemski here. His assist lines has obviously been higher than this recently. 3.5 just seems too low without Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler in the lineup. He's projected for about 30 minutes in this game, going over to RotoWire. He comes off the bench, which is almost better. He's playing against bench players. But yeah, projected for 30 or so minutes. That's kind of what he's been getting recently, other than that one game that he left with an injury. 32 minutes here, 33 minutes here. This is a game he left with an injury after 12 minutes. But 25, 28, 28. Obviously, no Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler now. So I want to go to the expected minutes. They're saying 24 to 34. That makes a whole lot of sense to me. Now he's over this in 75% of games. The next thing I'll point to is like, this is a tough defense. I don't want to just brush over that. So if we go to the opponent rankings, we can see defensive rating here in these challenging defensive matchups. He's still over in 61% of those games, which I love to see. And a couple of these recent ones, he has been getting there a little bit more recently. And that's without Steph Curry. Steph Curry's not in the lineup, and he's only crept over with 4, but I like the potentials here. 10 potential assists. They lose that game by 25, by the way. 10 potential assists. They lose this game by 37, by the way. And then 9 potential assists. They lose the thing by 12. This other one's back in November against the Heat. The next thing I'll point to is like, okay, Curry's not there. How about without Jimmy Butler? One of those games against the Detroit Pistons, they lose the game by 7, 14 potential assists, and then those same games against the Thunder and the Timberwolves. So the potential assists have been very high, hovering around 10 or so. So if we're going to see, that many minutes, and we're going to see a potential assist floor of like, let's say, 6, 7 maybe even. So we can go to potential assists, see the stats here, potential assists, and we can bump this up to like, let's say 6. Obviously hit rates are going to creep up 80% of the last 20, 85% of the last 20. And that's kind of what I'm looking for here. Even against a tough defense, he just is more involved in the usage rate and situation. No Steph, no Jimmy Butler. He's one of their main staples of this team right now, which is crazy to say. It's the Warriors. But yeah, pods to get some assists, 3.5. We're not asking for too much. If he gets 4, great. If he gets way more than that, that's just icing on the cake. And then not an official play, but we're talking about the Warriors. So plus 230 for the Warriors against the Spurs seems crazy, but I've seen crazier things happen. The Warriors don't have their biggest stars. Sometimes that's harder to game plan against. The Spurs also on a back-to-back situation. Anyone could pop up in the injury report. So plus 230 looks pretty dang good. There's also a lot of liquidity available on the Spurs here at minus 227. Pretty good indicator that the Warriors are plus 230. Pretty good value. So just wanted to point it out for you guys at that plus 230 price tag. Looking pretty dang good. Not an official play, just point it out. Moving into a play that I'm really liking the value on, 2.5 3-pointers made for Royce O'Neal, plus 140 on the over on FanDuel right now. And he's been cooking. He's getting threes to fall. He's been shooting them 4 of 7, 4 of 9, 3 of 6. He can shoot a decent clip as well, but he might get a lot of opportunities against the OKC Thunder, who are 29th ranked on the season in terms of giving up catch and shoot. Spot up opportunities, they're ranked 29th. How the Thunder play defense, they pinpoint those high usage guys and they lock in on them defensively, which means a lot of open shots can come for these catch and shoot and spot up guys. They shut down the paint, they shut down the high usage players, and it leaves some open shooters on the 3-point line. 20% of his shots come from corners. They're very weak there. And then 63% of his shots come from above the break. They're ranked 18th overall just because they're a good defense, but they allow the catch and shoots. There's also no Grayson Allen in this thing, so we've seen a bunch of games without Grayson Allen. The 3-pointers allowed or the attempted don't really change much, but this is also back-to-back, for the Suns. So we could see a little bit more time from a guy like Grayson Allen in back-to-back games without Grayson Allen on the court. 4 against the Rockets, very good defense, a good spot-up defense as well. And then 5 against the Pelicans, but I like he saw 8 shots in both those things. And back-to-backs in general, they don't mind running this guy, and he's also pretty dang good at knocking them down. 4 of 8, 3 of 7, 5 of 12, 5 of 8, 3 of 10, 4 of 8. He's getting a lot of 3-pointers to go, which gives me the idea of, let's jack him up to 8 3-pointers attempted on the night. And when he's shooting at least 8 3-pointers, see right here, he's going to go over this in 95% of games. If he's going to get 7 3-pointers, 90% of games, 6 3-pointers still over in 70% of games. And let's say he's going to get like 6 to 10, still over in 70% of games. So good catch and shoot here. Great defense overall. The Thunder are, but really liking the spot, especially for plus 140. Yeah, give me Royce O'Neal for the 2.5 threes. Moving to the next play, I'm going to Ace Bailey to get some points, rebounds, and assists against the Kings. This is 2 teams that do not even want to win this game, but Ace Bailey is a big beneficiary because the Jazz just not playing their starters, especially in the fourth quarter. Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr., probably not going to be out there. And you can see his minutes have been awesome because of that. 37, 31, 40, 40. The expected minutes today is around 28 to 38. I'm going to boost this up to 30 plus because if you go over to RotoWire, you can see that the line is, where is it? Kings, Jazz. This game's going to be horrible. Don't even watch this thing if you put money on Ace Bailey. Projected minutes for Ace Bailey, 34 is what they're projecting. So I'm going to 30 plus. He's over than 64% of games a lot recently. And then you get the Kings, who are just horrible defensive rating anyway, 28th on the season, but they're also trying to lose. So it's going to be an interesting game. I just know Ace Bailey's going to get a ton of time on the court. If he's going to get 34 plus minutes, he's over this in 6 of 7 games, 85% hit rate. I'm just going to bet on the young dude to get a bunch of time in a really soft matchup and go out there and do some work. We're not asking for a crazy line either. Points, rebounds, assists, 20.5. I think he can get it done against the Kings, who I've talked about many times, are just horrible. I can't believe that the Kings and the Jazz are literally actively trying to lose. So are the Kings, but they're still 6-point underdogs. It's crazy. The Kings fans, again, I keep mentioning it. I feel bad for you guys. Let me know if there's any of you in the comments down below. There's probably not. Whatever happened to light the beam in Sacramento? Those were good times for Sacramento Kings fans. But let's move on to the next play here. John Collins over his 13.5 points. Obviously hitting this a whole lot more recently. He's going against the Rockets once again. He just had 17 points against them in a 7-point loss. But he's been really good, obviously, recently. His usage has been up. His points have been up. His field goals attempted have been up. And I'm just looking at games with Kawhi without James Harden. He's over this in 8 of 8 games. Now, hopefully, back-to-back situation, Kawhi doesn't sit. I don't anticipate that, but that could end up happening. And without Kawhi, I don't think John Collins is as good. He's going to get a lot of defensive pressure. But hopefully, Kawhi goes out there and plays. He's not on the injury report as of right now. If you go ahead and look at this game, Rockets, Clippers right here, no one on the injury report. And, Mathurin has to go out there and get a little bit more accustomed to the team. John Collins just looked like the most aggressive player on the court last night watching this game. And obviously, I like this hit rate, 17.8 points per game without Harden, with Kawhi. The usage rate bumps up. The minutes are bumping up. The field goals attempted are jumping up to, 11.5 a game. So I just like this. He's done it against tough defenses, the Suns, the Cavs, the Thunder, even the Rockets and the Timberwolves. He's done it against weaker defenses. So I don't see why not to go to this 13.5 at a -110 price tag. Seems like a no-brainer. Again, you could talk about the matchup and everything like this, but he's involved in more action. Guys that play similar to a guy like John Collins, Isaiah Stewart, Klingan, Filipowski, these guys going over their lines pretty dang consistently. And then again, just positionally are also going over the line. So I don't see a red flag here to stay away from it. Now, if Kawhi ends up sitting, we might be cooked on this line. But at the same time, you could argue maybe he gets a higher usage if Kawhi sits. So I hope Kawhi plays. If he doesn't, I don't think we're absolutely cooked. John Collins has just been really good. He's been getting a lot more usage, a lot more attempts, and that's what you need to get over your points line. So I'm liking this spot for John Collins. The next thing I'll point to, it's a back-to-back set for both these teams. They played yesterday. And in back-to-backs, he's been pretty dang good. 62% of games he's going over, so that doesn't deter me from going away from anything. The minutes are still around 30 minutes per game, and that's what we've seen lately, and I'm liking this. So the volume's there, tough defense, but he's done it against tough defense as well. And I don't know, bambling at this point. John Collins over 13.5 points. Seems like it makes a whole lot of sense. So if you made it this far into the video, go ahead and leave it a like, give us some good luck, comment something down below. If you guys get this to 100 likes, I will be giving away a free month in my Discord community. Super close yesterday, like 95 likes. So I know you guys can get there. And I appreciate everyone that does comment and like the video. And of course, subscribe if you are new. I usually respond to all the comments also. So I appreciate all you guys in the comment section. Let's get into the recap of what we talked about in this video. And then also I want to break down the entire slate, give you guys just like a gist of my thoughts on some of the other games. And of course, I got to shout out Pickett. If you guys are not on Pickett, I don't know what you're doing. It's a free bet tracker for you guys to use. And when you sign up using my code RichPicks, $3 or $100 just by syncing your first sports book. Again, totally free for you guys to use. I know that I'm up 61.2 units on the month of February so far because of Pickett. We've been absolutely dominating. I do a lot of PrizePicks, Underdog, Betr, so I'm going for a lot of plus money parlays. So 18 out of 26 record seems like a losing record, but when you're going for plus 500, plus 1,000 plays, getting 18 wins is going to pile up there. So definitely check out Pickett. Really, really cool app. You want to know if you're winning or losing. And again, free app for you guys to use using code RichPicks, $3 or $100 when you sign up. Sync that first sportsbook, DraftKings, FanDuel, PrizePicks, Betr, whatever it is that you use, sync it, and it'll tell you if you're winning or losing over the course of a year, month, day, whatever you're looking at. So let's dive into this massive slate in the NBA, and that's going to start with the teams on a back-to-back. So there's a lot of teams on back-to-backs. I always like to point this out because someone might go through shoot-around, something doesn't feel right, and then they end up sitting that game. Happens all the time. So just keep that in mind. Someone might not be on the injury report right now, but they could pop up later. So that's the Houston Rockets, the Indiana Pacers, the Los Angeles Clippers, the New York Knicks, the Phoenix Suns, and the San Antonio Spurs. So just keep that in mind. I always like to point that out. Now, going into this slate, I also want to point out the Charlotte Hornets and the Detroit Pistons. And the reason I'm doing that is because they were involved in that massive fight the other day. And like Jalen Duren, for some reason, is not out of this lineup right now. He's not projected out. None of these guys are technically ruled out. RotoWire is good enough to say like, okay, Isaiah Stewart probably going to be suspended for this game. I would say Jalen Duren's also going to be suspended for this game, so we'll see what happens there. And then for the Charlotte side of things, RotoWire is already on top of that too. Miles Bridges, Diabate, also probably to suspend it, but they're not going to be on the injury report. So just wanted to point that out too. But let's start up here with the Washington Wizards and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And there's so many games, so I'm not going to go in depth on everyone. But the Cleveland Cavaliers side of things, I think James Harden's going to be a dimer against this team. It's a 17.5 point spread, so it's hard to take some overs, but I think he can get some assists, rack them up pretty quick. I was also looking at Jalen Tyson and grab some rebounds for plus money at 5.5. But here's the projected minutes as of right now. In a blowout situation, we could see this completely change. But that's what we got going on for them. For the Wizards side of things, no D'Angelo Russell, no Trae Young, obviously, no AD. But this is what we got going for their projected minutes. A lot of guys can lose minutes if they're down 25 at halftime or something like that. But as of right now, this is what we're looking at. Alex Sarr should be out there. Keyshawn George should be out there. No one's going to get a ton of minutes for this Wizards team, especially in a blowout situation. Milwaukee and Orlando, Ryan Rollins, KPJ. I like KPJ's points potential here in a good matchup against Orlando. AJ Green to knock down some threes. I don't mind that too at 2.5. We took this in the same matchup the other day. So those are some of the guys I'm looking at. Kuzma has been pretty dang good in some of these spots, but with KPJ and Ryan Rollins now in town, it's harder to go to a guy like Kuzma unless you're looking at maybe his assists, in which case he can do some damage. Bobby Portis, I think, is probably a buy low spot here. He could potentially see some more minutes as he starts to creep back from missing some time. So someone off the bench to look at, but obviously no Giannis for this team. Orlando side of things, we do have Franz Wagner back in the lineup. He's been back for a game or two. Coming off the bench, projected for around 22 minutes. They'll be careful with him, especially with the All-Star break coming in. But guys like Paolo Banchero, Desmond Bane, Anthony Black, they're going to get the bulk of the minutes here. And Jalen Suggs' minutes have been creeping up as well. 10-point spread here again, so a tough one to look at if you're scared of some blowout. Then we got Atlanta and Charlotte. This is, again, probably not going to see Miles Bridges, probably not seeing Diabate. So we'll get Kalkbrenner as the starting center, project for 26 minutes. We'll still see Brandon Miller, Concanippo, LaMelo getting the bulk of the minutes here. Grant Williams could be a sneaky guy off the bench, but he's coming off a torn ACL and he only has about 15 games under his belt. And then Atlanta side of things, there could be a lot of injuries here. So I'm not even going to look at this team, to be totally honest, just because there's so many other options out there today. Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, Risa Shea, all questionable in this thing. Okongwu, I was honestly looking at his under rebounds, but without Diabate in there, it gets a little bit more sketchy. But 5.5 point spread in favor of Charlotte. There's some injuries there. It's going to be a weirder game. We haven't seen Charlotte without their starting lineup in a while, and they've been pretty dang good with that starting lineup. So Okongwu under his rebounds is something I was looking at, but probably staying away from this game for a little bit until I know more about it. Not Charlotte. Then we got Chicago and Boston. This is going to be in Boston. Projected minutes for the Celtics, Derek White, Jaylen Brown. Derek White's assist line was at 5.5. That was something I was looking into. I think it's a pretty good spot for the Chicago Bulls side of things. Oh, the other thing I'll point to is Vucevic going to be playing against his old team, so could have a pretty good revenge spot here. I would actually say that his 24.5 PRA, I actually took his 23.5 PRA last night. That's something that I was definitely looking at. I think he could score against this team. I think he could rebound against this team. And he, was definitely frustrated with the Chicago Bulls for a few times, in post-game interviews. I know you guys have probably seen that clip. So I could see him having a revenge spot here. But Celtics are 13.5 point spreads. They're not going to run their dudes in the ground. But, when Vooch is on the court, I can see him doing some damage. Same thing with Anthony Simons. He's going to have the, green light. He's been shooting a whole lot of shots. Guys like Colin Sexton off the bench has also been really good. You have to see if his lines have boosted up too much. But both those guys are the two guys I'm looking at. And then Montes Buzelis, maybe to grab some rebounds, maybe to score a little bit. Those are the main guys I'm looking at for the Bulls side of things. Then we got Indiana and Brooklyn. Indiana is on a back-to-back set, so just keep that in mind. Jay Huff for his points is something I was looking at because I don't expect Micah Potter to play. He's missed some time recently. He missed the last back-to-back, so he could pop up in the injury report. But I look Jay Huff here to get some extra minutes. But even if Micah Potter doesn't miss time, I could still see him relying on Jay Huff a little bit more just because Potter played a little bit more than him in the last game. And it's a back-to-back set. So I was looking at his threes. I was looking at his points. Those are the two things mainly I'm focused on. For the Brooklyn side of things, their team's a little bit harder to predict. But Nolan Traore, he was someone I was looking at for his points and assists the other day. He crushed that line, but we expect that every single time. This is a team that likes to split minutes, but just something I was looking into. It's also a tough matchup for assists, so I don't know. If his line's low enough, that could be interesting, but there's probably going to be, there's no Michael Porter Jr., potentially no Claxton. So we could see guys like Clowney being the bulk of the scorers for this squad. Igor Denham also back in the lineup. Knicks and Philly, we got the Knicks coming on a back-to-back set, and they also played overtime. So we'll see what happens there. Mitchell Robinson questionable. He didn't play yesterday. OG Anunoby questionable. He also didn't play yesterday, so we could see them both out there today. Here's the projected minutes as of right now for them. I got really no leans in this game. We just saw Brunson go for a bunch of points against Indiana. Philadelphia side of things, Embiid's questionable. I was actually looking at his over in points in this game. I think it's at 26.5 or something, 27.5. But again, questionable tag. We don't really know if he's going to play or not. So that's the Knicks. I'm going to move along. 2.5 point spread could be a good one. Detroit and Toronto. Again, Jalen Duren, as of right now, is projected to play. But I would not be surprised at all if he ends up getting suspended. And then you got a guy like Beef Stew who's not going to be playing there either. So B-Ball Paul probably get the bulk of the center minutes, and he could have some low lines. We'll see how that pops out. Toronto side of things, this is a 1.5 point spread, by the way, so it could be a good one to look into. But we got Quickly, Ingram, Scotty Barnes, all projected for a lot of minutes. RJ Barrett also starting to get his minutes back up again. Jakob Poeltl questionable. Sandro Mikhelishvili, the main guy, off the bench. But I'd be looking at this main guys. Honestly, I was looking at Brandon Ingram under his rebounds and assists at 9.5. That was just something that popped out to me. Moving into Miami and the Pelicans, 1 point spread in favor of the Pelicans. Miami keeps losing games, but we got no Tyler Hero, no Pelle Larson, no Norm Powell, Terry Rozier in jail. So this is the projected minutes for them right now. I got no leans, but it could be a good spot to go to some of these guys in a close spread. Pelicans not the best defense in the world. So guys that are going to get a boost in minutes like a Jaime Jaquez could definitely see some rebounds and assists, could get some scoring going. But we'll see what happens there. Pelican side of things, Derek Queen definitely getting the bulk of the starting center minutes now over Yves Missi. And then Trey Murphy, Zion, all these guys should get time on the court unless it's a blowout like it was last time. But we'll see a 1 point spread on the books right now. So it should be pretty dang good. Clippers and the Houston Rockets, we spent some time talking about this one already. We talked about it yesterday. Hopefully the Clippers keep it close and our guy John Collins can score some points. On the Houston side of things, Reed Shepherd's definitely someone that could be interesting. He heated up last game, had like 16 points or something. We could see something like that once again, but these guys just played and adjustments will be made. So not anything too crazy in that game that I'm looking at other than John Collins. Portland and Minnesota, 5.5 point spread in favor of Minnesota. One guy I was looking at is going to be Ayo Dosunmu. He played pretty dang well in his debut. And then guys like Dante DiVincenzo, projecting to lose a little bit of minutes here. I was looking at, honestly, his under rebounds. I think it was plus money, under 3.5 rebounds. Just a weird one, but something I was looking into. Anthony Edwards questionable. I'd like to see him go out there and play if you want to be attacking this like a normal game. On the Portland side of things, I was looking at Drew Holiday to have a pretty good game here. Scoot Henderson maybe to get some assists. He's been diming up in a lot of these games when he gets the time in the court. Projected for 20 minutes here. I think his assist line's at 4.5, so maybe a little bit hard to get to. But we know the main guys, Denny Advia, back in the lineup. He's not in the injury report, which is a good thing for the Blazers. Then we got Memphis and Denver. We have Jokic for a triple-double. Obviously, a bunch of injury tags for the Denver Nuggets, but I like to see that Murray and Jokic both probable here to play. Same with Christian Brown. Memphis side of things, they're just so small. Kyle Anderson is not a center. Gigi Jackson is not a center. These guys are not very tall. So maybe Taylor Hendricks has to play a little bit more time just to give him some size. But I think Jokic could feast on these guys. It's a 13.5 point spread, so a little weary of a blowout. But Jokic gets triple doubles in the first half some games, and maybe we see something like that today. OKC and Phoenix, OKC 7.5 point favorites. They don't have Shea, they don't have AJ Mitchell, but they do have J-Dub now in the lineup, back from injury. Projected right now for probably 26 minutes. He could get a little bit more time, but that's kind of been where he's been hovering since he's come back. The Suns also pretty dang good here. Devin Booker, not on the injury report, but he's missed some time. They're on a back-to-back as well, so just keep that in mind. If he loses some minutes because of a back-to-back, just something to think about. But Colin Gillespie to dime up, I think I like that spot a little bit. And then obviously Royce O'Neal to knock down some threes was a video pick, so obviously I like that as well. Sacramento and Utah, the battle of the tanking teams. We'll see the projected minutes for Utah first because no one really plays in the fourth quarter. But Ace Bailey and Isaiah Collier, those are the two guys that are getting a ton of time consistently, which is why we're going to Ace Bailey as a video pick. Unders for guys like Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson, you could look at that, but they're pretty dang good even in their limited minutes. And it's Sacramento, so they're not very good all around defensively, especially. Nick Clifford should probably see a ton of time. Yeah, project for 38 minutes on this Kings team. He's kind of the bright spot right now for Kings fans. If I was a Kings fan, I'd be excited a little bit about a guy like Nick Clifford, who's played pretty well. But yeah, this is the starting lineup we got for the Kings, and the projected minutes are all over the place because you don't really know what to expect from this Kings team. 6-point favorites for the Utah Jazz, who are tanking, is absolutely crazy. Kings, a horrible franchise right now. And finally, San Antonio and the Golden State Warriors. Ton of injuries for the Golden State Warriors, and the San Antonio Spurs are on a back-to-back. The main guy I'm looking at here is going to be Dylan Harper. Points, rebounds, assists is always a good look because you can kind of do a little bit of everything. 20 projected minutes, but if Castle gets ruled out, he's questionable right now and got hurt in the last game. So if he gets ruled out here, could see a little bit more time from a guy like Dylan Harper as well. 7.5 point spread in favor of the San Antonio Spurs. And we already talked a little bit about Golden State Warriors, as I do like Brandon Podziemski, projected for almost the most minutes on the team. I like his assist potential, 3.5. Even it's a tough defense. Games without Steph Curry, games without Jimmy Butler, his usage rate goes up a little bit more, and he just needs 4 to cash us out. So that's what we got going on. Ton of games going on, ton of injuries to talk about, some suspensions to loom in there. And with the All-Star break coming soon, things can get a little bit wonky. But the guys that I dialed in on, I think those are the main guys I'm looking at as of right now. But as I get more injury news throughout the day, I'll be attacking more things. I'm not too scared of this slate. It is a big one, which means more opportunities to find more value. But again, tread lightly in the NBA, as I've been saying over the past few days. But we've been doing pretty dang good. Other than yesterday, we've been doing pretty dang good. Even with all the craziness that's happening in the NBA. So that will do it. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy this slate. We're not going to have a lot of basketball over the next few days. We have Thursday, and there's a couple games on Thursday, but then it's the All-Star weekend, and we have a little bit like a 5-day break or maybe even a week break of no basketball. So definitely let me know what you guys want from me in terms of content over the next few days. I might take a day or two off there just because we've been consistently uploading. But yeah, there could be other sports to attack. Maybe some Olympic stuff. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but some hockey potentially too. I've been attacking a lot of tennis and even like Counter-Strike and stuff in my Discord community. I don't know too much about it, but I know where to find value in that stuff. But yeah, basketball today. We'll talk about basketball tomorrow, and then we got to figure out what we want to do over the break. So I appreciate everyone watching. Again, like the video. If it gets to 100 likes, I'll be giving away a free month of my Discord community. Almost got there last time. I think I just checked 96 likes. So I know you guys can get to 100. And comment something down below. Helps YouTube push it out a little bit more. And I read all those comments, and I appreciate all of them. And I usually respond to most of them as well. And of course, if you're new around here, subscribe. If you watch this whole video, might as well subscribe. We do it every single day. We're going to keep doing it all throughout the entire season. So thank you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Go talk about your plays. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll try to respond to all your questions and everything. And if you want access to all my plays and just a really fun community aspect, link in the description down below if you want to join my Discord. I'm giving everyone 50% off anyway. $10 for your first month. So one more time, there is the recap. 5 plays on the board for a huge slate. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.